NUSO Partner Spotlight. Today we're here with Wayne and Tracy of TeamLogic IT. Let's go ahead and have people introduce themselves.
I'm Tracy Croushorn, and I'm one of the owners of TeamLogic. I'm not sure what else you want me to say.
I'm Wayne Croushorn. She is the majority owner. I run the day-to-day operation. She does a lot of customer relations and some marketing stuff for us. It's kind of how we divide the responsibilities within the company.
Very good. And I'm Ryan Henley. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at NUSO. Tracy, Wayne, thank you so much for being great partners with NUSO over the years, and thank you very much for joining us here on this Partner Spotlight. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
I'm Tony Graham. I'm with NUSO as well in marketing and communications, and let's get the conversation started. How did you end up going with TeamLogic as a franchise?
Well, we started our business back in November of 2019. You know, we wanted to find a company and start a company that we could integrate with the community and be supporters of the community. And then we also wanted to build something to leave a legacy for our children, for our boys. So we chose TeamLogic because it's one of the biggest MSPs in the country, and they had the most support. And we really loved that. And we were very, very blessed to be able to grow that business through the pandemic, because we started it right before.
That chose a good time, interesting time to get started.
Yes, we did.
Two of the things operationally we love about TeamLogic is you can't know all things about IT. So we have a network within the company of over 1,000 engineers, so any niche sort of things we need help with. And also we have clients with offices across the country, and so we can leverage those other offices to help to support those clients. So that's been a win-win for us. And as far as the boys, one of our youngest actually is enrolling for his sophomore year in a local charter school that has a great cybersecurity program. So fingers crossed he'll want to be integrated into the company.
Yeah,
perfect. That's a great point about the ecosystem and that kind of exists within the franchise itself as a supportive ecosystem. And to your point, nobody's going to know everything, but you know somebody who does.
Yes.
So it's a fantastic ecosystem to join. Interesting. Thank you.
So what's the area you cover in your business, locally speaking, and what kind of businesses industries are you dealing with?
Yeah, so really it's, well, as far as area, we have pretty much Tarpon Springs, Newport Richey, down to, if you're familiar with the Florida area, if you think of the Tampa area, kind of go west and kind of the north and south of that. We stay in that pretty localized geography. And then as far as businesses, it's really a mixed bag. We have a lot of healthcare, we have a lot of law firms, but and we have clients of all sizes. We have small clients, we have large clients that we do co-management with their IT teams. So that's kind of our mix right now. We try to stay local, something that we can easily get to if we have to go on site.
Yeah, it occurs to me that you're staying all on the beach, which I'm not sure is deliberate or just circumstantial.
Might have been some design considerations in on that, possibly.
It's interesting you mentioned healthcare. We've been doing a lot of work to dig into our base of customers and look who's growing and where the kind of where the fish are. And healthcare certainly is a huge, by far and away, actually, I think it's our biggest growing segment. I wonder if it sounds like maybe you're seeing some of the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do. We've got a couple of clients using NUSO. They're on healthcare. They like a lot of the features that they have. And yeah, we're seeing that as well.
Yeah, something like 15 million individual businesses in healthcare. You always think about the big ones in healthcare. You think about United Healthcare, you think about Blue Cross Blue Shield and stuff like that. But you forget sometimes about there's tons of home healthcare. There's tons of local dentist practices. There's tons of ambulatory care centers. There's tons of other kinds of things that are in that healthcare space that that very much fit in the small to mid-sized business category.
Absolutely. We have a lot of them down here.
So coming in at 2019, you saw that huge acceleration of telecom from on-premise moving to the cloud, or just fully transitioning. What kind of experiences did you guys see in your first few years through today?
Well, so when COVID hit, everybody was removing remote. So that was a big hit of support to get them able to access internal infrastructure. For us, we have a lot of clients that really need to have consideration of on-premise versus cloud. A lot of people consider us as the lightning capital of the U.S. And so we get a lot, especially in the summer, we get a lot of support calls, lightning strikes, taking stuff out. So obviously that can disrupt operations. But we also have an additional consideration of hurricanes. And, we're in that season officially now. And that really spawns, and with every client, we have a business continuity discussion. And, we ask the question, if you have to evacuate, do you need to continue to operate? We have a client that's a claims adjusting company. They're all hands on deck. And so, we have a solution where we migrated their stuff to the cloud. But it could be a near miss that takes out power and internet for days. And so we have those discussions, and more our focus is to take people, if we can, to either a virtual server, cloud, or maybe even move their infrastructure to a data center and a colo sort of arrangement into a rack. And that's an ongoing thing we do with all of our clients.
Yeah, that's I'm really glad you do that. You see disaster recovery more and more being a part of, not just part of good, kind of good order and discipline around running your business, but more and more in the regulatory space. What is your disaster recovery plan? How are you going to operate in the event that there is some sort of an issue that prevents you from conducting your business at your location, from regulatory bodies, from the SEC, from certainly if you're in the EU, there's some requirements around that as well. So it's become more and more of the way we need to think about doing business. And you kind of, it's not just about, back to the healthcare example, it's not just about being a good dentist. You've also got to make sure that you've got a sound technology stack and a sound technology practice around your business as well.
Absolutely. When we onboard a client, we like to manage them for about 30 days, really get to know them. And then we sit down for a 30-day review, and that's when we have the discussion. Okay, so a lightning takes out your server. How long before you have to be back up? And so we design solutions around that. And so, yeah, very important.
I was told that you do an awful lot of business with Microsoft Teams, that a lot of your clients are heavily into Teams. How is that going, and how are you handling that?
So yes, you were told correctly. We have our entire infrastructure wrapped on Teams. I mean, it's everything from our internal chats. One of the things that us and our clients like is that you have a record of those chats. You don't have employees doing texts with their cell phones with employers that you have no visibility to. We do all our file sharing through SharePoint. We do virtual calls through Teams. We even have our PSA software integrated with Teams, and that's our ticketing management system. And that integrates in so that our employees, our engineers, can work within Teams to handle tickets. Even all the way down to our phones. I mean, one of the things we like about NUSO, is their integration into Teams. And they have a nice interface. Ours is integrated in. We have several clients. As clients start saying, hey, we want to use Teams more, one of the first questions is, okay, let's talk about your phones. I mean, here are the advantages of integrating that in. And so they are open to those discussions, and that's a nice intro for NUSO.
Yeah, it's if you look back beyond, I know you guys have been in this since 2019. I don't know what came before that, but the telco world has sort of always existed in this separate stack from the IT world. And what we've seen in programs like Teams, it's not just Teams, but the whole Microsoft productivity suite and the integration of all of their tools together. It's not just email, it's and collaboration. It's that once you can bring in then the communications pieces of it, the phone, the messaging, now you're starting to do collaborative project management across your organization, even outside your organization, but you're doing it inside that productivity suite, and bringing it all together is, that's a force multiplier for a business to bring it all together in one single place. I've got, my employees are communicating in one place, my customers are communicating with me all in that one place. And to the extent that we can be a seamless part of that ecosystem, we can help be a force multiplier for those businesses that are using that.
And you can back up and save all of those chats.
Yeah.
For historical purposes. For us, it's you're absolutely right. It's all integrated together. If somebody's using a different VoIP supplier, we get pulled in whenever there's issues because there's always the struggle. It is integrated into the IT infrastructure. So what we tell our clients is, just manage it all. Take, just one-stop shop, one phone call. So that's been big for us.
Yeah. Well, and to your point earlier, what you don't want is somebody texting with their customer or one of your customers offline in a different, from their personal phone to the customer's personal phone. You want that to be a part of the overall communications ecosystem for the business, both from a compliance perspective, from a customer experience perspective, even from an employee experience perspective. You want all of that stuff under one place.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important.
So just to jump back to 2019, when you were looking around and thinking about becoming a managed service provider for IT, why TeamLogic? What were some of the deciding factors?
Well, so I guess we were looking at, as I mentioned, I think previously, that I was doing a lot of traveling, working for another company, and I wanted to start something that I could be more integrated into the local community, no travel. And I was looking at different franchises. One of the key things I wanted was something that was about as recession-proof as possible, which turned out to be an amazing piece of foresight, because then 3 months later, everything shuts down. So that was a big consideration. We looked at a lot of different things, but as we discussed, I like the idea of having a large. TeamLogic now is over 280 locations across the U.S. and having that pool of other owners. We run into situations where we can't figure out the issue. We can throw on a chat and get solutions. And, again, we like the ability to be able to support clients who have offices outside our region. That's a big win for us over the competition who can only work locally. Those are great. And the other thing is, they bring in a bit of professionalism for all the franchises, from your website to white papers to brochures, marketing. Everything that they do is really top notch. And so I think all those things really went into our decision of going with TeamLogic.
Yeah, we've really, really enjoyed our partnership with TeamLogic. It's been going for a number of years now, and have witnessed all the things that you're describing, right? Is the professionalism of the organization, the way they set up all of their locations, the way the partners or franchise users are supported, has been really great to be a part of and growing alongside of them. Yeah, you picked the right one. You're absolutely right.
Oh, thank you for that.
As a part of the TeamLogic, as part of the greater team for TeamLogic, one of the franchise owners, 5 years in, what kind of leap are you seeing into security? We handle telecom, but security is huge in telecom now. And you're kind of on the front lines, and this year is predicted to be new heights in malware and phishing, and you've got all the AI deep fakes appearing up. How are you guys? What are you seeing, and how are
Isn't
you
it new lows,
training people?
Tony? It's like that we're hitting new lows and security,
Probably better to say new lows.
deceptive,
I think I
horrible
gotta
I
agree with
look
practices.
at I look at
Yeah.
threat indexes and I see them spiking. So I think it's
Well, you're right. We are on the front lines, and sometimes that front line feels like a firing line. It's ever changing. Our CIO spends a lot of time researching, finding new threats so we can be prepared for new threats that come out. Some of the things that we've done, if I just look over the last year, one of the things, I think there's three main, we make sure we have solid email threat in place for every single of our clients. An email threat protection sits in front of mailboxes, filters out all the spam, not all, the vast majority of the spam and the phishing attempts and all that. Studies show that, 90% of all successful malware attacks come through email phishing. Mm-hmm. So our goal is to have as few of those come through as possible, and try to eliminate the possibility of clicking on that link that suddenly starts an attack. So email threat is something that we have to have for all of our clients. I would say that the second thing we've done is that an educated employee force is one of your best preventive measures. We've established a cyber awareness program, and that can take a lot of different forms, but in general, it starts with a 1-hour training class that talks about all the different threats, how to identify them, what to do if you see one, whether it's email phishing or text phishing or schmishing, I think they call that now. It's best practices when you're on the road and you're in an airport and you need to access things. So we start with that class, and then we like to put them on a platform that has training modules, and we establish with the principals at a client of a security score that they have to maintain. And with each training module, your security score improves, and you have to do continual training to maintain that. And then we implement an email phishing campaign with fake emails and monitor who clicks and, God forbid, who actually enters credentials into the fake email, which does happen sometimes. And then our principals at our clients have visibility into those, and they can identify who may need additional training. So that has become really big. It's the best way to prevent successful attacks. And I would say the third one that we have done, there's a buzzword in the industry now called MDR, Managed Detection Response. And there's a lot of providers. We probably spent a couple of man-months of evaluating all the players out there. And in general, for those who don't know what that is, it takes workstations, the antivirus and workstations, firewalls, lateral traffic within networks, Outlook 365. It ties into all of those things, brings them into the systems at the SOC, the Security Operations Center, and that has intelligence that looks for anomalies that may be indications of an attack. And the key part of that is 24/7. IT engineers, they work a lot of crazy hours, but we're not watching 24/7. We're just not. So if an attack happens in the middle of the night, I want to know. And so, the vendor that we use, within minutes, they're going to see it, they're going to analyze it. If they have to intervene and take remediation steps, they will. Or if they see that it's quarantined, under control, they just send us a note. And I think the other key aspect of that is, the one we selected is, nothing is 100%. If there is a successful attack, cleanup and remediation can be outrageously expensive. But the vendor we use actually backs up their product. If there is a successful attack, they mobilize the team immediately and they clean it up at their cost. And so for our clients and the owners, that is a huge peace of mind. So more and more of our clients are doing that. And another side benefit for those who carry cyber insurance, you get big discounts if you're running MDR, especially one that will handle cleanup at no expense to the insurance company. So that is one that, again, it's becoming more and more adopted. But we're constantly bringing on new things, adjusting settings, security settings, policies. We just have to adapt.
Yeah, it's it's certainly not a question of if, but when you'll at least get attacked as a small business. Now, whether you have the capabilities in place to defend against that, that's what you're trying to instill in your clients is, hey, you need to be ready, a preparedness against that. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in people, process, and technology to go defend against this kind of thing. And I think it's an argument for not just for our cloud services, obviously proud of it, but cloud services through providers like us in general, is that if you're sitting there saying, I'm going to put my box, and it doesn't matter if it's a PBX or a router or whatever, I'm going to keep it on my site and I'm going to plug it into the internet, and I know better than everybody else how to defend it. Those are the people that get attacked. Those are the people that lose their data. There are professionals out there who can do this really, really, really well, and they do it all day long. And I would encourage everybody to take advantage of those professionals and go do the thing that you got into business to go do. Go be the dentist, go be the doctor, go be the plumber, whatever it is that you do well. Go do that thing and engage folks like Wayne, Tracy, and engage you guys to help defend against the people that are trying to perform these nefarious acts.
Yeah, and I think I can add one other thing that we do during the onboarding process is we look at what kind of established policies they have. Everyone should have an incident response. What does an employee do if they feel they've been hacked? That's important. They need to know the procedures. So we help them document and train them on those procedures and sign off on those things. So another important piece of prevention.
Is there still a commonplace misunderstanding that small and medium businesses are never targeted by ransomware and bad actors? Is that still that seemed to be a common misperception years ago?
It's probably gotten a little better, but I think a lot of people in the back of their minds think, oh, who's going to care about me? But I think the data still proves that small and medium business tend to, back to what Phil was saying, may tend not to be engaging professionals to lock them down, secure them. They're potentially easier targets. And so, if they're going to make money, they're probably going to be more successful going after the small guys.
Yeah. It's getting increasingly more sophisticated for sure. It used to be you could spot a phishing email pretty easily because maybe the grammar wasn't very good, or it was false sense of urgency or something like that. But some of it's getting really, really good. Text messages from your CEO. I think I got one of those a couple of weeks ago. They're getting pretty good.
Yeah, that's a big. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's a big part of the cyber awareness training, because that is huge. The social engineering has become more and more prevalent. Of masquerading as someone and wanting to the gift cards, get the gift cards and send them out. So
what made you choose to bring NUSO on board as your telecom partner, and what was it like joining? What was your experience?
So full disclosure, when we started about 6 months in, we did not go with NUSO. We went with another supplier, and one of these white label sort of solution. Very mixed bag of results. And, we had some successes, we had some struggles. So due to the relationship that NUSO does have a TeamLogic, and talking to other owners, I was told by a couple of owners that you really should check these guys out. So we did. And some of the things that I really like about NUSO is, the pricing models are great. They're very competitive. They have most all the features that our clients are asking for. And if they don't, you've got great application engineers that will help us figure out solutions. They're always quick to jump on the phone so that we can brainstorm a solution. They've got a lot of APIs that tie into things like CRMs. That is becoming more and more important to our clients. And they really interface with, I think, in all the years we've been with you guys, I think one off-brand phone you guys didn't interface with. So you can easily tie into whatever existing phones that they have. So all those are important on the pre-sales part. But I think the thing that really sold us is the smooth onboardings. I mean, I have to tell you that most companies, phones are the lifeblood. And if you have a sloppy onboarding, you're at least going to damage the relationship, if not lose the account. And I like that NUSO assigns an engineer. They work directly with our engineer. They get all the call flows and all the users set up ahead of time. They coordinate all the porting over, and every single one has been extremely smooth. And that to me is the most important thing. Because, you work hard to get a client. You don't want to lose one over a phone transition. So I would say that is the biggest thing.
Well, thank you very much for choosing us. I'm glad we were able to come in and displace the other folks. But I think we talk a lot around here about service and what that means to really put yourself in the mind of not just of your partner, but of the customers, the ultimate customers, and of their customers beyond that, and really to be thinking about what we do in the context of something broader. And I think part of that, when you bring back the manifestation of that, we're trying to remove the friction from the process. We're trying to remove what could be a potentially fraught event, moving from one provider to another, an anxiety-provoking event. Trying to remove that sort of fear from the process and make it as smooth as possible. We do the best we can. Sometimes things go wrong. When they do go wrong, we try to attack them with vigor and get people back up and operational.
You've already established you're all in on Microsoft Teams for your business as well as a lot of your clients. We've seen Copilot pop up without having to push any buttons. You're in Teams. Here comes the Copilot. What's been your experience, and what are you seeing with your customers, and how are they accepting AI in general and Copilot in particular?
One of our initiatives we're working on this year is to help educate our clients on the 365 suite to improve business efficiency, but that also includes Copilot, right? So we're releasing a series of videos over the remainder of the year, and we're showing them tools that they may not be aware of that can help with employee productivity.
So. Yeah, we find that many of our clients, they just scratch the surface, the very basics of what you can do. In the suite, there are so many tools that they can use that they don't even know about. So as Tracy said, yeah, we're working towards educating them, because if we can obviously we need to secure them, we need to keep their infrastructure running, we need to handle the user requests, but if we can help consult and make better use of their tools to help them be more successful, it's bringing more value for us.
Yeah, I love the approach you've taken on that too. That it's a constant education process. You bought this thing, but you didn't necessarily realize that it did. You're using it for 2 of the 10 things that it does. If you used number 3, 4, 5, your business could go up. Your customer experience could improve. Your employee experience could improve. You're taking the educational approach of saying, yeah, you already bought this, and I'm grateful for that, but let me show you how to really drive it like you stole it.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of this, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't interrupt you. I would say a lot of this is, we have an operations manager who's a wizard with the 365 tools, and she has implemented a lot of flows and tools to help us be more efficient. So she's actually the driver that is doing these series of videos, and it's not just, here's what Microsoft says you can do, coming from experience.
Here's how we use it. Yeah, that's a more powerful message than the one coming from Microsoft. So I'm anxious to see those. I want to. How do we get plugged into those videos?
All right, I'll make sure you get a copy of. We do a monthly newsletter, and we're going to do these little shorts of her showing like a recorded video. If you can do this and this, give us a call if you want help to implement. You're going to say something? Okay. I think getting back to the AI piece, in general, I think there is still a little bit of a afraid to touch it sort of thing. I think people, I'm going to date myself, but back when early on in my career, I was in industrial controls and putting computer supervisory systems in manufacturing plants. Back in a time in the late 80s when there weren't many computers in the plants and customers were kind of afraid to touch it. It really reminds me of that. So it's not just here are the simple things that you can do and making them comfortable with actually grabbing it and using it. So yeah, it'll be an effort over time to get people to adopt it more. All you see in the news is bad stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff.
There is. We've I think we were scratching the surface on how to use AI. It's right now it's all the buzz and it's all the rage, and everybody wants to talk about it. And I firmly believe in the possibilities. The possibilities are out there, but we've got to find the right specific use cases to apply it in the right way.
Right.
It is not going to solve world hunger and cure cancer and make all of our lives sunny and on the beach, although you guys have managed to find the beach part at least not right away. But
Elon Musk thinks so, that we can all just work if we want to. So we'll see if that comes true.
No, I love the idea of the training videos because you're touching on something that we talk a lot about. It's one of the reasons we developed the whole NUSO bridge for teams is people have these platforms and they're not aware of all the capabilities and they end up with redundant systems. And I think that there's such a benefit to training people and making people aware of what's there and having a similar, if not a completely common interface. So there's none of that steep learning curve when you first start using a tool. The videos sound like a fantastic idea. What do you see for your franchise, for your business and your business area, say 12 months from now? What do you think is going to be one of the biggest changes in the market?
One of the things that we are working on is, when you look at, so the result of COVID was a lot of people going remote, and then people kind of came back. Some are completely back, some are completely remote, and there's everything in between. There are challenges with the remote workforce that have to get into internal infrastructures. VPNs, they serve a purpose. They also create a lot of support headaches. There's a technology out now, a ZTNA, a zero trust paradigm, where it's a cloud-based sort of access. And we have been doing a lot of work on vetting out different vendors. We've established who we want to go with, and we're actually beginning to look at rolling out for a couple of our clients. And I think that is going to, if you ask me a year from now, I think we're going to have a lot more clients on that sort of paradigm. I think it's more secure. It works a lot more seamlessly. VPNs, they have issues. If somebody's at home and their internet has a bad connection, they're dropping out, they're frustrated. More support overhead for us. So I would say that is one of the biggest things that we will be implementing over the next year.
With all the things that you're talking about require power either in the remote handset, like power is in compute power, and they require bandwidth to make it work. And the combination of the fact that this is more powerful, this thing is more powerful than what put us on the moon the first time, with 5G and the growth of 5G and the capacity that you have there. Now you can start doing some great, some great things with things like the zero trust product that you're talking about to really put some power in that mobile worker's hands. We talk a lot about also about remote, people talk about remote workers. And the picture you have in your mind is 20-something IT worker sitting down at a coffee shop doing coding. Well, we're selling our house right now, and I can tell you there was a parade of people in and out of here today, contractors, who are just as much remote workers. There was an appraisal guy. There was a engineer looking at something. There was there were some people doing some cosmetic work on them. I mean, every one of those people, those are remote workers, and especially in this world where we've sort of realized that, hang on a second, I can do a lot of my work from everywhere, or from anywhere, or I can do work while I'm on the way to or from various different appointments. So I think the concept, the combination of those three things really is the concept of a remote worker, plus the increase in availability of bandwidth, plus the increase in the power of what you have at your fingertips can change the way we work.
Well, and it creates a whole new set of issues, and that's where mobile device management comes in, where and more, back to your question of over the next year, we're bringing more and more of our clients, they're running with iPads. If an iPad gets stolen, you need to be able to wipe important information off of it. So yeah, that is something more and more. Identity management using 365 Intune. A lot of those things, you're absolutely right. People are using mobile devices more and more to handle what they do every day. So
yeah, at the core of your business as opposed to at the edge.
Yeah, exactly. Very true.
So what makes TeamLogic different from other MSPs?
Well, customer support is our first and foremost. We like to say that we're a customer service company who happens to do IT. And we pride ourselves on our response time, our response SLAs, and maintaining a ticket survey score of 4.96. So we're also very quick to get on the phone with our vendors to help resolve issues quickly, but not keep the customer in the middle. Having their engineer and our engineer on the phone so that they can resolve the issues a lot quicker. And then we also perform extensive monthly maintenance to minimize their issues. So if you think of it like your car, if you change the oil, you rotate your tires, you maintain and do the maintenance, you're going to have fewer issues. And it's the same thing with IT. We just take a more productive approach to manage our clients' IT. And then, one of the other things is we never send a link to our clients. We feel like the support is our responsibility. It's not theirs. So we take that very seriously. And then we also do client business reviews. We call them CBRs. We do them 2 to 3 times a year, just to keep up the communication, what they need, what their goals are, and different trends as well. So
yeah, congrats on that score too, which is 4.96, right? That's
out of 10. Out of 10. No, just kidding, out of 5. Yeah, we're very proud of that. Every ticket, completed ticket, sends an email to the client and for a very quick survey. So yeah, we're very proud of that score.
Yeah, there's no more important metric, I think, in a company, because that's going to tell you the direction that you're ultimately headed. The voice of your customer that has to be the North Star of every single company.
Absolutely.
And sounds like you've got your course firmly pointed at that North Star.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love how you phrase that. Support is our responsibility, not the customers. I spot on.
Yeah, we've had clients complain about that. Oh, they sent us a Google link and they want us to go through. No, it's our job to jump on. We do it. We get off. They don't. We're not trying to make our clients IT engineers.
Can you highlight a success story that you've had involving NUSO?
Oh boy, I have a bunch of them. I think one of my favorite ones is a client we had. They're a healthcare company, pretty large one, and they had another VoIP vendor, and they were having a lot of issues with dropped calls, with voicemails, and saying they weren't returned, and they were really struggling with understanding, what were just complaints from clients, what were business issues internally, or what were just issues with the VoIP provider. One of the features that NUSO has as standard most of the platforms is the cradle to grave. And that is so important to them, because when they get complaints from clients, from their patients, they have a complete traceability of when the call came in, who it was transferred to, who listened to the voicemail, who responded, callbacks. So they have the ammunition to say, okay, this is what we have. You didn't call 9 times. You know, we responded within 2 hours. And then they were also able to use that to correct internal business flows as well. So their patient satisfaction went up tremendously once they implemented that. They were trying to track all this in these complex Excel spreadsheets that we couldn't understand half of what they were trying to do in those spreadsheets. And so it eliminated a headache from all of us. So I would say that was one of our best ones.
That's awesome. We were talking about customer experience earlier, and that being the North Star. Patient experience in the healthcare industry has been something that, I think the industry hasn't really talked about that much. The healthcare industry hasn't talked about much until recently. The ubiquity of choices for people has really, I think, helped them focus on patient experience. And if we can be a part of giving you that, that end-to-end visibility of here's what the patient's experience looked like, at least from a communications perspective, then you can do exactly what you just described, which is, dive into the data and say, okay, this percentage of people had this happen. Let's go fix that thing. And then kind of the Kaizen of doing that over and over again makes your overall patient experience better.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a cool story. Thanks for sharing it.
Well, thank you for spending time with us today. And for us, it's always very valuable getting feedback and talking to the people who are interfacing directly with their customers. It's our eyes and ears into the business is our managed service providers. So we appreciate you taking the time.